Ladies and gentlemen, this is the top story in international news. The president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, has just made a proposal that has surprised the world. Of course, for those who know Vladimir Putin very well, this is not surprising. Vladimir Putin has just proposed direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine without any intermediaries. Vladimir Putin himself is the one making the proposal. So we can see that Vladimir Putin wants to show the world that he wants peace. So we are at a point where both parties, each of them is trying to demonstrate their willingness to move toward peace. That is already a significant step, even if we know it might not lead to anything, but it is still a major gesture. And Putin even gave the date. So it is Russia that is inviting Ukraine to direct negotiations in Istanbul on May 15th, which is just a few days away. That means everything has already been arranged with the authorities on the Turkish side. And so, everything is set. And all that remains is the presence of the Russian and Ukrainian delegations. So, what is prompting Vladimir Putin, to make this proposal? When we see that Russia has just celebrated its double victory, is it because Russia, Muzu, has just celebrated the victory that there is a need to quickly put an end to the conflict in order to celebrate again even more? Or is it the advice that was given to Putin by his peers since during the 80th anniversary, there were many heads of state and world leaders who attended? We don't know what they said to Putin, but when we see that right after that, Putin makes this proposal, we have to understand that there is something going on. So, what exactly did Putin say? That is what we are going to talk about in this video conference, which I humbly ask you to share. It needs to be shared as widely as possible. Share it in every group you can. And above all, don't forget, for those who haven't subscribed yet, to subscribe to the page. Subscribe. And above all, don't forget to activate the notification bell. So, what needs to be said? The Russian president is proposing, according to official information, to start negotiations without preconditions with Kiev on May 15th in Istanbul. What's interesting in this matter is that there are no preconditions. So, the key points of the statement made by President Vladimir Putin on this May 11th, 2025. First, he says this: Kiev did not respond to the Russian proposal to cease hostilities for the 80th anniversary. He also points out that, at least according to Trump, Kiev did not respect the 3-day ceasefire. So he is shifting the blame. He's already showing America, Europe, and the whole world what Ukraine has done, what Ukraine is, a country that does not respect the rules. Secondly, he says that Ukrainian forces carried out large-scale attacks on Russian territory after the ceasefire proposal in May, meaning the most recent ceasefire. And we just had a video conference about this, where we even saw the vice chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, who came out and announced that he is tired of the Ukrainians. And we saw the other officials announce that worse days awaited Ukraine because Ukraine had violated the ceasefire. Not only did Ukraine violate it, but Ukraine had launched 526,000. Ukraine had carried out 526,000 launches, or at least Ukraine had violated it 526,000 times. There you go. That's the right way to put it. So Ukraine violated the ceasefire 526,000 times. However, despite all this, Russia intends to conduct serious negotiations and reach a lasting peace agreement during the talks in Istanbul. So Russia really values these talks in Istanbul. It's easy to understand why. Russia is trying to show its humanism, its good side. Since people say that Russia doesn't like peace, Putin took the initiative to call for direct negotiations in Istanbul on May 15th. So we'll see whether it will take place or not. Will Ukraine agree? So what should be noted is that during the 3 days of the ceasefire, Kiev tried 5 times to attack the Russian border. All these attacks were repelled, and the Ukrainian troops suffered heavy losses, according to Putin's statement. So there you have it, but despite that, Russia still intends to hold direct negotiations. So Moscow's proposal is suitable. Now, it's up to Kiev. Now it's up to Kiev and the sponsor of its regime to decide. Here's what he said. This is what Vladimir Putin insists on. Vladimir Putin insists. He says that Russia's proposal is already on the table. So the ball is in Kiev's court. Now it's up to them to decide. If they agree, see you in Istanbul on the 15th. If they don't agree, that's their problem. Russia is ready to continue. And so President Vladimir Putin intends to discuss with Turkish President Recep Erdogan. And Putin thanked American President Trump for his mediation efforts in the peace process. So this is what caps off the statement made on May 11th, 2025 by the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. So what should we say? We should say that the ball is now in the West court, the ball is in Ukraine's court. Since these Westerners have portrayed Russia as that state which does not want to move toward peace at all. They tried to prove it beyond doubt to the point that even America decided to wash its hands of the matter. Since that gentleman, what's his name, the special envoy of Trump to Moscow and Ukraine, said that he made 4 trips to the sumptuous Kremlin palace, but they were all for nothing. So America had already concluded that it was Russia. That was the obstacle, the blockade to the arrival of peace. So then on their side, what is the other party going to do? What is Russia going to do? Russia is simply going to show its willingness. And this willingness has just been demonstrated. Russia even gave the date, May 15th, in Istanbul. So the world is watching Ukraine. So ladies and gentlemen, here is what he had to say. Thank you for sharing the video as much as possible. I'll be back with you shortly, by the grace of the Almighty, with more news. This was the voice of your humble servant, the unique samurai.